On the distant planet of Vargoth, the wind howled across the jagged cliffs and strange glowing forests. Here the giant warrior women of the planet lived in tribes, each trained from birth to protect their land and people. They were strong, fast, and feared across the planet. Among them, one stood taller than all others. Her name was Koresh. She was enormous, her body strong and broad, her muscles rippling with power. But beneath her armor and her strength, Koresh carried a secret sorrow. She felt she was unworthy of love. Koresh had spent her whole life being treated as a weapon, not a woman. Even her own tribe admired her for her size and skill, but no one ever looked at her with warmth or affection. They admired her strength, her fighting skills, but never her heart. Koresh had long ago learned to hide her feelings, but each night when she was alone, she would look at her reflection and whisper, "I'm too big. No one will ever love me." On this day, a strange noise echoed across the cliffs. Koresh turned her head and saw a small group of human ships crashing into the jagged forest below. Sparks flew and smoke rose in thick clouds. Her tribe panicked. Humans were rare visitors to Vargoth, and no one knew whether they were friendly or dangerous. Koresh's chief called her forward. "Go, protect them," he commanded. Koresh nodded silently, her massive frame moving with surprising grace for her size. As she approached the wreckage, Koresh saw the humans struggling to escape the burning parts of their ship. Most of them were small and fragile compared to her. She could lift debris with one hand, clearing paths for them. The humans looked terrified, but Koresh noticed something different about one of them. A quiet man with kind eyes. He didn't shout or panic. He simply helped the others, staying calm in the chaos. His name, Koresh later learned, was Ethan. Ethan looked up at Koresh not with fear but with curiosity. "Thank you," he said simply, nodding. Koresh froze for a moment. No human had ever thanked her before. Her size, her strength had always been a source of awe and fear. Not gratitude, not warmth, just fear. And yet this human looked at her as if she were just a person, a real person. The thought was strange, almost dizzying, and Koresh felt her heart beat faster. The tribe watched from above. Some whispered in disbelief. "She's huge. She doesn't belong with them. She's a monster." Koresh felt her usual shame rise. Even though she was helping the humans, her tribe never let her forget that she was different. And Koresh had always believed them. Maybe she was too big. Maybe she really wasn't worth loving. Later, when the humans tried to move parts of the ship to save supplies, Koresh accidentally crushed a small control panel under her foot. Sparks flew and smoke rose. The humans jumped back in fear. Koresh's cheeks burned, not literally, but in that strange way humans seem to blush. She wanted to hide, to disappear. She felt clumsy and out of place, a giant who could do nothing right. The tribe laughed quietly from the cliffs above. Too big, too clumsy. Even her strength cannot save her pride. Koresh turned away ashamed. She had wanted to help, but now she felt like a fool. For the first time she wanted to cry, but she didn't. Giant warriors didn't cry. They endured. Ethan noticed her trembling, standing silently in the smoke. He stepped closer despite her size. "Koresh," he said gently, "look at me. You didn't make a mistake. You are helping us. That panel, it can be fixed. But your heart, it's what matters. And your heart is stronger than anyone I've met." Koresh stared at him, confused. No one had ever spoken to her like this. No one had ever told her that her value wasn't in her size or her skill, but in her heart. She wanted to say something, but words caught in her throat. Instead, she simply nodded, feeling a warmth she didn't understand. For the next few days, Koresh stayed with the humans, guiding them through the jagged forests, warning them of dangerous creatures, and using her strength to carry heavy equipment. She learned that Ethan was an engineer, clever and patient, always thinking ahead, always calm. The other humans were impressed with Koresh's abilities, but they too seemed wary of her size. Only Ethan treated her as an equal, as a companion, even as a friend. Slowly, Koresh found herself looking forward to his presence, and she realized she no longer wanted to be invisible. She wanted to be seen, truly seen. One night, the group camped near a glowing river. Koresh sat apart from the humans, her large form casting a shadow in the firelight. Ethan came to her quietly and sat on a rock nearby. "Do you want to talk?" he asked softly. Koresh shook her head. "There is nothing to say," she muttered. But Ethan didn't leave. He simply waited, silent, respectful. Finally, Koresh spoke. "All my life, everyone has seen me as a weapon. Too big, too strong. I am not like others. I am not worth love. Her voice trembled. She had never admitted this aloud before. Ethan listened without interrupting. When she finished, he said simply, "You are wrong. You are worth more than you know. Your size, your strength, they are part of who you are. But they are not all that you are. And you are capable of giving and receiving love. I see it, Koresh. I see you." Her heart beat fast. No one had ever looked at her like that. No one had ever made her feel like she mattered. She felt tears rise but blinked them back. Giant warriors didn't cry, they survived. And yet she wanted to. She wanted to believe him. She wanted to trust that maybe, just maybe, someone could care for her, for who she truly was. The next morning, disaster struck. A sudden storm swept through the forest with heavy winds and lightning. Trees toppled and rocks slid down cliffs. The humans panicked, struggling to move their supplies to safety. Koresh didn't hesitate. She used her enormous strength to lift fallen logs and rocks, clearing paths for the humans to escape. Ethan followed closely, amazed at her speed and power. Suddenly, a large tree cracked and fell toward Ethan. Koresh reacted instantly, throwing herself in front of him. The tree crashed to the ground, narrowly missing him, and Koresh was left pinned under part of the trunk. Her body hurt, but more than that, she felt fear. Fear that she had failed, fear that she was too big, too clumsy. But Ethan rushed forward, pushing the tree off her. "Koresh, you saved me," he said, holding her shoulder. "You didn't protect me because of your size. You protected me because you care. And that is what makes you incredible." For the first time, Koresh felt pride without shame. She realized that her size, her strength, her very body, everything she had thought was a burden, could be used for good. And that maybe, just maybe, it could be admired, not feared. And more than that, someone could care for her. Someone could love her. As the storm passed and the humans set up camp again, Koresh sat quietly, watching Ethan organize the supplies. She felt a strange calm. No one had ever treated her like this, not her tribe, not anyone. And yet here he was, patient, kind, unwavering. He had made her feel something she hadn't felt in her entire life. Hope. The sun rose over the glowing forests of Vargoth, bathing the massive warrior in soft light. For the first time, Koresh did not feel like a weapon, nor like an outcast. She felt like a person. She felt seen, and she knew that the days ahead would bring new challenges. But for the first time, she did not fear them. She had someone by her side, someone who believed in her. And that belief was stronger than any fear, stronger than any storm, stronger than any tribe's judgment. Koresh was beginning to understand that love, real love, was not about size or strength. It was about courage, honesty, and the willingness to see someone as they truly were. And she had just found someone who did exactly that. The morning sun rose over the jagged cliffs of Vargoth, casting long shadows across the glowing forests. Koresh stood near the edge of the camp, stretching her enormous limbs and scanning the horizon. The storm had passed, leaving behind broken branches, scattered rocks, and pools of rainwater reflecting the strange green light of the forest. Ethan was already awake, carefully inspecting the damaged ship pieces and organizing supplies. Koresh watched him for a moment, feeling a strange warmth in her chest. She had spent her life alone, seen only as a weapon, feared for her strength or mocked for her size. And yet, here was someone who did not flinch at her height or strength, someone who treated her as a companion, even a friend. Koresh approached him silently. "Do you need help?" she asked, her deep voice gentle. Ethan looked up and smiled. "I could always use a hand," he said. "But not just your strength, your mind, too. You see things differently." Koresh blinked. For the first time, she realized that her size and power were not her only value. Her thoughts, her ideas, her observations, they mattered too. And someone noticed. That thought made her chest swell with pride. As the day went on, Koresh and Ethan worked together, clearing the forest of dangerous debris, salvaging what they could from the crashed ship and finding safe paths for the humans. The tribe watched silently from the cliffs. Many of them had never seen Koresh act with such calm and precision. And even fewer had seen her interact with a human without fear or anger. That evening, Koresh led the humans to a safe plateau where the view of the glowing forest below was breathtaking. The humans set up their tents, and for the first time, Koresh felt a sense of peace. She had saved lives today, and she had done it in a way that was meaningful, not just forceful. Ethan approached her and handed her a small cup of warm water. "You should rest," he said. "You've done more than anyone could ask." Koresh took the cup, her massive fingers careful not to spill it. "I am fine," she said, though she realized her muscles ached from the day's labor. She did not complain. That was not her way. But Ethan did not let her dismiss herself. "You are human in spirit, Koresh," he said softly. "Even if your body is not human, your heart is." Those words struck her deeply. Koresh had long believed that her size made her different, unworthy of normal connection, unworthy of love. And yet this small human with quiet courage and steady hands saw her as more than her body. He saw her as she truly was. Days passed. The humans repaired their ship with Koresh's help, and the bond between her and Ethan grew stronger. She found herself seeking him out not just for help but for conversation, for comfort. He never mocked her, never made her feel awkward. He listened, he learned, and he respected her. One night the humans prepared a small fire to cook their food. Koresh sat nearby, watching the flames dance in the darkness. Ethan joined her, carrying a small plate of food. "Here," he said, offering it to her. "You need to eat something." Koresh took the plate and smiled faintly. "You treat me like a normal person," she said softly. "Because you are." Ethan replied simply. "You are more than normal, actually. You are remarkable." Koresh felt a blush rise across her massive cheeks. She had never felt seen like this before. Her tribe had only seen her size, her strength. The humans had feared her at first. But Ethan saw her heart. The next morning, the tribe announced they would hold a trial of courage, a traditional test in which warriors prove their skill and bravery. Koresh's fellow tribe members whispered doubtfully, "She is too large." "She cannot win." Koresh ignored them. She had no desire to prove anything to them anymore. Her courage was not for approval. But the humans, especially Ethan, wanted to watch. The trial began with the warriors climbing jagged cliffs, crossing deep rivers, and confronting dangerous creatures. Koresh moved with her usual strength and skill, but this time she felt something different. She was not only fighting for her tribe. She was fighting to show herself that she could be brave and loved at the same time. As she crossed a collapsing bridge over a deep canyon, a huge rock slide blocked her path. She froze for a moment, calculating the safest way forward. Ethan, watching from below, held his breath. Koresh did not panic. She leapt with precision, landing on the other side and using her massive strength to hold the rocks in place, allowing the smaller warriors to pass safely. When she finished the trial, the humans cheered. The tribe watched silently, some even in awe. Koresh's heart swelled not with pride, but with something far more valuable, confidence in herself. Later that evening, Ethan approached her. "You were amazing," he said. "I don't think anyone has ever seen you like this before. Not even your tribe." Koresh looked down at him, a shy smile on her lips. I'm not used to being seen," she admitted. Ethan reached out, placing a hand on her massive forearm. "You are seen now. By me, by the humans, and one day maybe by your tribe too. But what matters is that you see yourself." Those words touched Koresh deeply. She realized that she had spent her entire life hiding, afraid of being judged for her size, afraid of being unwanted. And now, someone saw her for who she was, strong, capable, kind, and worthy of love. Weeks passed and the humans repaired their ship completely. It was ready to leave Vargoth. Koresh stood at the edge of the cliff, watching the small human vessel gleam under the twin suns. She felt a pang of sadness. She had grown used to Ethan's presence. She had grown used to being treated as someone worthy, as someone loved. Ethan approached, carrying a small device that contained the data they had collected on the planet. "Are you ready?" he asked. Koresh nodded, though her heart was heavy. "I think so," she said. Before he entered the ship, Ethan turned to her. "Koresh, I want you to know something," he said, his voice serious. "You are not only strong and brave, you are kind. You are wise, and I care for you, more than I can say." Koresh froze, her massive body trembling slightly. No one had ever said that to her before. Her heart raced. You really mean that?" she asked, her voice barely above a whisper. Ethan nodded. "I do. Your size, your strength, none of that matters. What matters is your heart. And I see it, I love it. I love you." For a long moment, Koresh said nothing. Then slowly, she reached out and placed her hand over his. Her massive fingers covered his small hand, and yet in that moment it felt perfectly natural. I don't know what to say, she admitted. You don't have to say anything, Ethan replied with a gentle smile. Just know that you are not alone. Not anymore. The humans left Vargoth the next day, but Koresh remained with her tribe. Something had changed. Her tribe began to see her differently. Not just as a giant warrior, but as a leader and protector. Koresh carried herself with a new confidence. She had learned that love, trust, and respect were not about size. They were about courage, heart, and connection. Months later, Koresh discovered something wonderful. She was going to become a mother. Not just of any child, but a child that symbolized the bond between humans and Vargothians. A living proof that love could cross species, that it could break barriers, and that it could transform fear into hope. Koresh stood on the cliff, looking at the twin suns setting over the forest. She placed a hand on her belly and smiled. Her size, her strength, her uniqueness, everything that had once made her feel unworthy now felt like a gift. She would teach her child to be brave, to be kind, and to understand that love is not limited by form or fear. And somewhere among the stars, Ethan watched over them, proud and devoted. He had proven that love was not about size, shape, or origin. It was about seeing the heart of another and choosing to stand beside them always. Koresh closed her eyes and whispered to herself, I am seen. I am loved, and I am enough. The forest glowed beneath her, the wind whispered through the trees, and Koresh, the giant warrior who once believed she was unworthy, knew that her life had changed forever. She had found love, and with it, hope, courage, and the promise of a bright future.